Farmers are now getting into it with the Biden administration. We're talking about the Department of Agriculture and some relief bills that the Biden administration are proposing. Largely, these are to address some of the problems that many farmers throughout America faced during the COVID era when the country was sort of in panic mode. People were locking down, people were losing their jobs, and markets across the country and the world were and are still severely disrupted. So the federal government, of course, is trying to come out there and fix it, because that's what they claim they want to do, is fix a bunch of things. So they are trying to do that right now. And one of the mechanisms by which they want to accomplish that goal is by passing the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, which is, I think, in effect right now. And this is something that is interestingly being applied. It's sort of promising certain revenue to certain farmers, but not other ones. What? That sounds discriminatory. Is it? Well, that's what this gentleman is saying. He is suing the federal government on that basis, saying that these discriminatory policies are unconstitutional. So we're going to go over to the Epoch Times for this article. They did some of the heavy lifting, written by Catabello Roberts, says that a farmer is suing the Biden administration over the racist COVID relief plan. Disabled white farmer has sued President Joe Biden over his loan forgiveness program, alleging he can't participate because why? He is white. Adam Faust is the name of the guy. He's a white resident of Charlton, Calumet County in Wisconsin, one of 5 Midwestern farmers who filed a lawsuit on April 6 that accuses the federal government of violating their constitutional rights. Other plaintiffs are farmers from Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, Ohio. They have direct loans with the Farm Service Agency or the USDA-backed loans that are, quote, otherwise eligible for loan forgiveness program in ARPA, except for the color of their skin, according to the lawsuit. So this is happening right now, like in 2021, right now. We're talking about federal government helping people repay loans and doling out money based on the color of their skin. Today, attorneys for the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty filed the suit on behalf of white farmers in federal court in Green Bay, Wisconsin. As per the lawsuit, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 provides $4 billion to forgive loans for, quote, socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers. The phrase socially disadvantaged includes explicit racial classifications, according to the lawsuit, which states that in order to be eligible for ARPA's debt relief, farmers and ranchers must be Black, Native American, Hispanic, Asian American, or Pacific Islander. It contends that other farmers, white farmers, for example, are ineligible. We're going to look at this, right? I'm going to show you the screenshot from the Department of Agriculture's website here in a minute, but let's take a quick look at the rest of this article. Were plaintiffs eligible for loan forgiveness benefits, the lawsuit says, they would have the opportunity to make additional investments in their property, expand their farms, purchase equipment and supplies, and otherwise support families and local communities. But because plaintiffs are ineligible to even apply for the program solely due to their race, they have been denied equal protection of the law and therefore suffered harm. Lawsuit requests the court enter a temporary and preliminary injunction preventing defendants from applying racial classifications when determining eligibility for loan mods and payments to declare the racial classifications are unconstitutional. Faust, who is the owner of Faust Farms, branded the program as racist. He says, it was just out and out racist. I really don't think that there should be racism allowed in the federal government at any level. If somebody's green, I think they should be allowed to participate based on their actual qualifications for the program, not just picking an arbitrary thing like race. I don't see where they're going to be impacted but any different than anybody else. He said, I've never seen any government program based solely on that. I mean, if it would have been against any other race, everybody would have been on board and been complaining immediately. So if he said that this program was reversed and it was only doling out to, let's say, Caucasian farmers, would that be okay? No, is his argument. He says no. As per a press release, which we're going to look at in the next slide, by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, published on April 29th, the American Rescue Plan included provisions for the USDA to pay up to 120% of loan balances as of January 1, 2021 for the Farm Service Agency direct and guaranteed farm loans and farm storage facility loans, debt relief to any socially disadvantaged producer. All right, so that's a mouthful of stuff. What is this saying? If you're an eligible farmer, you're somebody who's in a socially disadvantaged category, you can get up to 120% of your loan balance forgiven. So that sounds like more than the underlying loan, right? I mean, if you take out $100 and you want to, for USDA to pay up to of loan balances. Okay, so you borrow $100 and you have a loan out, you owe $100 on. USDA, they're going to pay you 120% of that loan balance. So you get $120 to pay back your $100 loan. That's what it sounds like to me. U.S. Department of Agriculture told Fox 10 that it was reviewing the lawsuit with the Department of Justice, but the USDA plans to continue to offer loan forgiveness to socially disadvantaged farmers. So now we got to take a look. We know there's a press release from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. What are they talking about here? Is this article right? Let's dive in. This is from the USDA, creating equitable opportunities. And you can go to their website. This is a .gov website. Take a look at this. This is on the U.S. Department of Agriculture website. Okay, we're talking about the government entity that helps our farmers grow food. Corn, wheat, vegetables, whatever else farmers grow. Everything, right? They grow a lot of stuff and animals, all of it. I love farmers because I like to eat. This is on their website. That's their primary function, growing food for humans to eat. So okay, so let's see what the government wants to do about this. First and foremost, they want to create equitable opportunities. So equitable is the new buzzword of this administration. It says here on the U.S. Department of Agriculture website, for decades, systemic racism. Oh, God, it really is systemic. It's everywhere. Everywhere you turn. Everything you say, everything you do, now everything you eat. It's racism. Damn it. Cycles of debt and lack of access to programming have left marginalized communities in the agricultural space at a deficit. The COVID-19 pandemic only exacerbated these long-standing challenges in the communities where Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, Pacific Islander, and other socially disadvantaged producers live and farm. You'll notice in here, missing a demographic of Caucasian people. The U.S., so they were not injured by this because they're not socially disadvantaged, you see. USDA is committed to creating a department that provides access to opportunity for all Americans and to address cumulative systemic barriers for socially disadvantaged farmers. So accordingly, they're going to give up to 120% of loan balances back to any socially disadvantaged producer who has a qualifying loan. We're going to take important steps towards enacting these debt relief provisions, including contacting lenders, distributing resources on loan forgiveness, and collecting data on eligible borrowers. All right, so they also apportioned over $1 billion for other purposes, including the creation of an equity commission. Oh, that's nice. Equity commission. That's good. Which will identify and offer solutions for addressing and removing long-standing discrimination in the USDA. But we also have to take a look at this. Under the rescue plan, what is this? What if we click here, learn more? What if we're in one of these groups? We say, hey, we're a farmer. Hey, I'm a white farmer. Maybe I want to, I didn't see white people are available for this equitable opportunity. So I want to click this learn more button right here. And let's see what that says. So who is in fact an eligible borrower? If we click that, it takes us here. Eligible borrowers include those who identify as one or more of the following: Black, African American, American Indian, Alaskan Native, Hispanic Latino. We have Asian American. We have Pacific Islander. The American Rescue Plan Act. Wait, there's a whole section missing here. There's a whole group of people missing. Form 80-2047 says, well, listen, if you're confused like I was about a missing group, hey, what if you're a white guy and you're also socially disadvantaged because of other disadvantages? Let's say you have an intelligence disadvantage, or you grew up poor, or you have a medical problem or a health problem, or let's say what if you have certain sexual orientations or certain pronoun use? I mean, aren't they also socially disadvantaged? I don't know. So it's confusing for me. So if you are in that position, you're also confused. Good news. You can go take a look at Form 80-2047. If you're uncertain of your demographic designation on file with the government at the FSA, well, you can just contact your local service center to verify your classification. So if you if you don't know your race, if you don't know if you qualify, you can update. You can correct your form. You can work with your local service center to update your record, including your race and ethnicity. Just go make sure it's on file with the federal government so that you too can get your loans forgiven at 120%. Thank you, federal government, for helping to solve racial equality in America. That's nice. Good job. We have the disabled farmer now is suing the Biden administration. He says here, Faust says racism against anybody is wrong. This is the farmer. He was on Tucker Carlson. We've got a clip of that. I want to just give you a quick transcript here. He says racism against anybody is wrong. We can't have a government picking and choosing who they are going to give any program to based solely on the color of their skin. His attorney, his name is Rick Eisenberg, pointed out that this law is discriminating against certain races cannot be legal and pressed the universal move towards equity is damaging to the American principle. So we have the clip here. Here he was on Tucker. I think this was last night. Oh, wait. I forgot. We are doing we're doing the interview setup, so I have to share my screen. I forgot about that. Much apologies. Here we are. Here shortly. And we're going to share the audio so I don't botch this. All right, there it is.
Rick, thanks both for coming on tonight. Adam, just summarize for us why you're filing this suit, if you would.
Well, basically just because racism against anybody is wrong, and we can't have a government that's picking and choosing who they're going to give any program to based solely on the color of their skin.
So you grew up in this country, I can tell by your accent. Weren't you taught all along the way that that was contrary to the Constitution, to federal law, to Martin Luther King's vision of America? Are you surprised by this?
Extremely. I mean, like you said, everything that we've all learned growing up is racism was wrong, and now all of a sudden the federal government seems to think that racism is acceptable in certain ways and should never be acceptable.
No, it shouldn't. And if you complain about it, you're a white supremacist.
Yep, we know how that goes, don't we? All right, so let's take some questions over from watchingthewatchers.locals.com here on this segment. We got Norovira in the house. Says, Robert, you should read the book Metabolical, interview with Dr. Robert Lustig. Here comes his interview with the controversial Dr. Mercola. All right, so that's over on YouTube. I will take a look at that, Norovira. I love your suggestions. She said, this is widely known in our society that in reality, white Caucasian people have been discriminated against since 1990. There is no such thing as white privilege. There is white privilege. There's white unprivilege, and there has been for some time, starting from universities, funds for education, loan taxes, anything, you name it, there is systemic racism against white people. Whoa, Noro. That's a spicy meatball right there. Thank you for serving that up so deliciously. We have Sharon Quidney says, good for the farmer. And he's disabled as well. How do you like his chances? The federal aid based on race. How on earth could they expect to get away with this? It's Jim Crow aimed at white people. Worst of all, it indicates an open embrace of CRT racism as the basis for economic redress. Marxism, pure and simple, but with race as the basis for justice and equity. It is surprising to me. It's like our federal government is actually reallocating funds based on race. And I'm of the same mindset. I thought that was inappropriate. But I think that it's changing now. I think racism is okay as long as it's against white people. I think that's the new reality here because white people are systemically racist. So anything that hurts them is okay, even though it's sort of the same definition of race. I don't know. It's confusing, which is why I have to go check out that form that the Department of Agriculture put up because I don't know what the heck is going on. Liberty or Death says welfare was being sold as reparations. How about this? Are we good now? Yeah. You know, I'd be curious about the reparations. I just want to know what the number is, you know, just for an idea. You know, it's like you drive around, you look at that house, you say, that's a nice house. I wonder what that costs. Could I ever afford to live there? Probably not. Maybe, you know, I hope so one day. I'm working hard for that, but maybe not. But I still want to know what it costs, right? Oh, $60 billion or $60 million. Yeah, probably not going to get that house anytime soon, right? But you still want to know. Same thing with reparations. What's the number, really? What is it? Like, what are we talking about? What does this framework look like? I would just like to know what the concept is. What's the proposal? I'd like to know. I'd like to go through it and see if it makes any sense. If it makes sense, maybe we solve the whole thing. Let's see what the numbers are. What are the numbers on the reparations? Somebody draft that up and let's take a look. All right, great questions from watchingthewatchers.locals.com.